Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Years ago, I made a video here at this cemetery about alcoholism, and I believe it's reached close to about 70,000 people. So many people have commented on that video, and it's helped. This video that I made years ago has helped so many people, and I thought it was fitting that now that I'm back in California for a while to celebrate Christmas and the holidays with family, I felt like coming up to this cemetery where I made this video and making part 2 of that video about alcoholism and addiction recovery. So I'm going to walk with you up those stairs that so many of you probably have seen before in that video, and we're going to talk. And I want you to really listen, and I want you to imagine, before we start this video, I want to make this clear. I want you to imagine that although this video is going to reach hundreds of people, maybe even thousands like the first one, I want you to imagine in your heart, and I want you to accept this in your heart, that this video was made for you and you alone. And I want you to imagine that I'm actually talking with you and not the world at large in this video. Now, obviously, I want this message to reach tons of people, but this message is for all of you individually. Whatever you're going through right now, whatever kind of addiction that you're suffering with, I want you to realize that this message is for you, and I want you to realize that you have options. You do not have to stay in this suboptimal addiction or whatever it is that you're going through, regardless of the severity of whether it's alcoholism, methamphetamine, even tobacco use. You can get out of what you're going through, and you can do so with flying colors. So before we get into this, I'm going to put a disclaimer on this. And you should always seek medical advice, especially if you're, recovering from alcohol or trying to get off of alcohol or any hard drug. You need to seek medical professional attention because they have so many options. They have so many incredible resources that save so many lives. For those of you who watch my channel, you're probably well aware that I have a lot of issues with the overall model of mainstream medicine, but within the realm of addiction recovery and emergency medicine, they have their shit together, ladies and gentlemen, and there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people whose lives have been saved, or have not only been saved because of emergency medicine and addiction recovery medicine, but there's thousands and thousands and thousands upon thousands of people who have died, unfortunately, because they chose to not seek medical professional attention when they withdrew from whatever it is that they were trying to get off of. So I don't want to see that happen to you. I love you, I love you, I love you. This message is for you, and I really do hope that it reaches your heart and inspires you to take the action that you know deep down that you need to take so that you can have the life that you want. You can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it, let me tell you. And within your heart, within your capabilities, within who you are on the deepest levels, you can conquer anything. Let your addiction and the recovery out of it be a total testament to the fact that you can accomplish anything. You have no limits. Only what you tell yourself you can't do. Those are the limits that we put upon ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, let's just get into this video, and I love you all. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who watch my videos on alcoholism, this place might look a little familiar. Years ago, I made a video that has reached a lot of people, and I filmed it here, and I talked about how I don't want to see you wind up dead from your addiction, from alcoholism or whatever it is. Now, I was an alcoholic at one point. I was drinking at least a fifth of vodka a day, sometimes much more than that. And somehow I made it out of that alive. I went through horrible withdrawal symptoms, had alcohol hallucinosis, tactile hallucinations. I was seeing and hearing things, feeling things that weren't there. I felt like my soul was being ripped out of my body and I was dying and going straight into the pits of hell. So for those of you guys who have suffered with alcohol and addiction from alcohol, I'm here to tell you that the withdrawals are wicked beyond wicked. And I don't want to see that happen to you. I want to see you get off the bottle. I want to see you flourish. This channel, to a large extent, ladies and gentlemen, is about addiction recovery. And people, there's more addiction now in this world than there ever has been. So many people now, even at younger ages, are addicted to alcohol or tobacco or pot or methamphetamine, whatever it is. So when you get addicted to any of these substances, you feel trapped and you feel like there isn't a way out. And I'm here to tell you that there are ways out and that you can navigate out of those uncertain, scary waters, and you can actually rekindle your health, ladies and gentlemen. You can achieve great health. But you've got to act now. There's no more time. There's no more sympathizing with I'll do it tomorrow, because as I've said in many of my videos, I'll do it tomorrow leads to, this toxic cycle where days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years, and before you know it, you're 50, pushing 60, and you're still drinking massive amounts of alcohol or whatever it is. And the thing with alcohol especially, folks, is that when you start drinking lots of it for prolonged periods, you can't just up and stop. It can be exceptionally dangerous, especially with alcohol, to just up and stop. So you've got to seek medical supervision. You've got to play your cards right, and you've got to do what you've got to do, because I do not want to see you wind up dead. And I'm making this video in this cemetery, and I've made one of them here before on alcoholism, because if you don't change your ways, you might end up beneath the ground, ladies and gentlemen. And that's not to scare you, that's to give you a serious dose of reality, especially with alcohol, especially with these hardcore pharmaceutical drugs that more and more people just at younger ages have access to. I am amazed at how many drugs are on the street, how many young adults have access to things like the synthetic heroin and all the garbage. So alcohol especially, I have a lot of experience with, because I was an alcoholic at one point, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot of people have reached out to me saying that, wow, your videos on alcoholism are powerful. And that means the world to me. The fact that these videos can help inspire people to get off of the bottle or to get off of the pipe and realize that there's so much more. There are so many greater states of consciousness that you can experience when you're sober. There are things that you can consume, supplements and nootropics, ladies and gentlemen, that you can take that will light your spirit up and make you feel so good. Your verbal processing, your anxiety can be reduced with safe, effective things, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to resort to alcohol or methamphetamine or all this other crap to feel like you can cope with this crazy world. There are safe and effective, proven methods, supplements, dietary alterations, exercise programs, etc., that you can adopt to uplift your mind and to get that peace of mind that you're probably using the substance for. More often than not, we get hooked to dangerous drugs because we are anxious or we're having difficulty coping with reality. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, there are safe and effective alternatives to the drugs that make you feel twice as good, that increase your health, that make you feel better, that are good for your brain and your body. But on top of that, you will never actually be coping with reality by using drugs, by drinking. If you have to deal with reality by getting yourself high on dangerous, life-threatening substances, that is not coping with reality. That is an illusion, ladies and gentlemen, that will lead to nothing good. And although you might have temporary relief, it's not going to actually give you that long-term sustained relief and mental health that you're looking for. You might be able to take a drug and go out into the world and feel comfortable around people, or you might be able to take a few swigs of liquid courage and think that you can go talk to people and sound normal. More often than not, you're just fooling yourself, and the people that you're communicating with can see that you're high or drunk, whatever it is. So we have around us right here a cemetery, even lower down here. I'm at this cemetery, and I'm well aware that not everyone in this room, maybe there's not even one person in this room that passed away, unfortunately, from substance abuse. But for this demonstration, let's just say that these people passed away from using substances, or from drinking or taking too many drugs. Now we have in the middle, ladies and gentlemen, we have this outer ring of unfortunate death from using things that are dangerous, from taking things, or not having control of addiction. But in the middle, we have this symbolic metaphor, this pool for health. Fountains, although this one's rather dirty, fountains represent health, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a continual flow. Unhindered flow, to a large extent, is a symbol of when things work properly, when things are flowing well. So, let's just imagine that this ring, you guys, around this grass represents the dangerous path of addiction. And when you're addicted and you're on this path and you're still alive, you are probably at some point going to get way too close to this wall. And you might end up becoming part of the wall. Now, if you realize that you're on this path and you recognize that you want to get off, I'm here to tell you that you can stop, get a 360 view of what the grass is like on the other side of the fence. You can start to walk into the green ring of sobriety and natural health. You can start taking magnesium to feel better. You can start doing a handful of things. There are so many nootropic compounds that you can work with that make you feel so much better than being stuck on alcohol. And I'm not saying that those are just an instant fix or that we should take those forever, but sometimes people need some help. I can't tell you how much magnesium actually helped me when I was getting off of alcohol and some of the other things that I've done in the past to get off of alcohol that we talk about in other videos. I don't want to be repetitive. So you can get yourself off of this dangerous path and you can start embracing sobriety. And sure, that first initial path is really step is really difficult, but once you get onto the green, lush grass, you will be able, ladies and gentlemen, to look over and reflect at what could have happened to you. Let's just say that these stones are, you're finally, once you're sober and walking a path of sobriety, you finally get your mind back and you can start looking at, wow, this could have happened to me. Let's just imagine that that's what these stones represent. These gravestones represent what could have happened to you. See, when you're on that path, you're not thinking properly and you don't even realize how close to death you are. But when you get sober, you start to reflect. And the process of reflection that only comes from a sober mind, that process of reflection allows you to look at all the foolish things you've done and how you were walking in a landmine. And that any of your steps that you took while you were sober could have made you wind up in this place. So, as you get sober, as you embrace real health, you start to get closer to this. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is when you finally let go of that path and all of the bullshit. And let's just imagine that these little marks right here, each one of these is, a little ring of just all the bad shit that happens when you're on this path. So as you walk down this path, you're not even aware, as you're addicted, that all of the continuation of your ways, you just keep going over these little etch marks. And these etch marks represent you getting tied in deeper and deeper and deeper to your addiction and you being lost. So let's just say when you start off on this path, you can kind of see the green. Let's just imagine here that you're sober, but you end up getting addicted to something. And when you end up getting addicted, right at the beginning, more often than not, you can still see the rationality or why you should be sober. But as you continue to walk on this path, your judgment gets clouded, folks. And eventually, you don't even see the green anymore. And you're completely locked in to your new way of living, which is not living, ladies and gentlemen. It is just, it's not. And each of these lines represent getting further caught in the addiction and not having rationality. But I'm here to say that through your actions, you can stop the path that you're on. You can see why you need to quit. You can stop and you can reflect, and you can, although it's difficult, walk directly the fuck off of this dangerous ring of death. And you can take that first step into your new life. And I hate to and I'm here to tell you, excuse me, people say, well, how do I get sober? How do I, how do I make it a year? Blah, blah, blah. I feel so worthless when I only am 1 day into sobriety. How can I endure a year? I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and I've always said this, that the first step is half the journey. So when you make it through that first week, when you make it through that first month, you've made it half the way. It's not about, sobriety, ladies and gentlemen, is not about how long you do it. It's about taking that first step. It's about making deep-seated foundations. Sobriety is a lot like a seed. You've got to get the roots in there first. Once you have the roots in, and roots are symbolic, ladies and gentlemen, of a foundation. The roots in this case, the seed of sobriety, you lay in the ground and you water and you get it to germinate, and the roots, when they finally take hold, that means that you need to stay sober. When you can achieve that, you've won. When you know you're not going to go back to your old ways, and it's very achievable. I hope that makes sense. Sobriety isn't about, okay, I'm going to quit, but I'm only going to be successful when I make it a year. That's great, and that's a hell of an accomplishment. But really, ladies and gentlemen, it's more about getting that seed rooted. Once you get the seed rooted, that's 90% of the battle. Getting your roots established is the hardest part. And when your roots are established, folks, what that means is that you've finally done the hardest part. You see, again, sobriety isn't about, can I make it a year, blah, blah, blah. No, the real test is, can you get your roots completely rooted? Can you get them to grow into the grass? Because the roots won't establish on this concrete. You cannot embrace sobriety, ladies and gentlemen, on the path of death. You cannot get your roots, your healthy roots, established. The roots have to be established on fertile green earth. Technically, you'd have to do it in the dirt, which is brown, but I think you catch my drift. So a lot of people, what ends up happening is this, folks. All right, I'll give it up for a week, but I'll go back. I'll stay on here for another month or two. I'll be all right. You know how many people have done that? They got sober for a little while and then got back on the path of death and ended up killing themselves on accident. The real test of sobriety is, can you get the seed to grow roots? And if you can get the roots to grow, can you continue to water it? Which that's symbolic of staying on the path of sobriety and never looking back at the ring of death that you were on. You can reflect on it, which is symbolic of these stones. And maybe we can say that all of these etch marks are little things that you can reflect on. I don't know. I don't want to keep this too complicated with symbolism, but once you get the roots established, ladies and gentlemen, and you know you're not going to go back, that's when the fountain starts spinning. That's when the pump starts turning on. And you can have this in the green, or you can have this uncertain ring. And once, ladies and gentlemen, you actually establish flow, and you start regenerating yourself and bringing balance back to your liver. Once you get the garbage, the meth, whatever it is out of your system, once you've stayed here long enough and bathed in the holy healing water of sobriety and healthy living, then and only then can you walk the fuck out. You can walk out and you can take steps into the healing rays of the sun, which is a metaphor for having a new life. And then once you get, ladies and gentlemen, your life reestablished, then you can look up at where you've been and how close you came to the end. You ever heard that Tool song, Reflection? I have come curiously close to the end, down beneath my self-indulgent, pitiful hole. Defeated I concede and move closer. I may find comfort here. I may find peace within the emptiness. How pitiful. Very, very powerful piece of musicianship. So, once you've left the building, you can then walk back up the stairs and have a 360 view of where you've been, what you've accomplished, and then maybe you might want to start trying to help other people heal. And you know, the whole thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you're on the ring of uncertainty and addiction and death, if you could just stop moving down this insane path, you could realize that above you, there's all that. Blue skies, greenery. That's symbolic, ladies and gentlemen. This entire opening right here is symbolic of the fact that if you just stop, instead of just going forth and living your addictive lifestyle that's going to it might end up killing you. If you could stop and get your rationality and your common sense back and you looked up, you could realize that, holy shit, I'm on the wrong path and that I need to get the hell out of here. There are options, ladies and gentlemen. This giant hole represents options. And once you realize that you have options and that you don't have to be an addict, you can take that first step into the green realm of healing as you embrace and learn to walk towards the healing fountain of life. So I'm here to tell you that you can change your ways, but it's going to take you and you alone. You're going to have to come to some serious decisions, and they're going to be hard to make because, like I said, walking off this ring into the realm of healing is very difficult. It requires sacrifices, and addiction is a huge sacrifice to let go of because there's a good chance you like the way that your addiction feels. You think that you're on top of the world while you're addicted. You think that you can accomplish much more when you're addicted, but you're not. The only thing you're going to accomplish is a destruction of your well-being and your peace of mind. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a good time. I'm not saying that there aren't things that you can consume occasionally that are sacraments that, I'm not even going to get into that. All I'm going to say, you have options, folks. There is no magic pill. Addiction is going to test everything that you've got. Letting go of your addiction is, because many people will sacrifice their health for some temporary peace of mind, but you will never be able to know what it's like to leave this building, metaphorically speaking, until you get off of this ring, get into the grass, get your health back with the fountain so that you can get your common sense and your rationality back and see that you've been trapped. You've trapped yourself and that you're the only way out. There is no magic pill like kudzu root. I mean, there are certain things that you can take, ladies and gentlemen, to lessen your desire to consume certain things like alcohol. Kudzu root is a good one. Magnesium is a good one. But it's not going to just make the decision for you. You're not going to be able to metaphorically enter into some vehicle that's going to drive you out of your addictions. And that's why many people stay stuck, because they're intimidated by life without the substance, because you might not feel good without it. But I'm here to tell you that if you can sacrifice your peace of mind long enough for you to establish your roots again, you are going to get so much better. You're going to feel so much better. And you're going to feel so proud of yourself when you finally get the fuck away of the substance that you're addicted to in there. If you're watching this video, it's for a reason. Something led you here, whether it be an angel on your shoulder or just your gut. I don't know. But life has aligned things for you to be here in this moment with me. And I'm here to tell you that you are much more powerful than you currently probably know. Maybe you do know, I'm not sure. But if you're an addict, there's a good chance that you just need to be guided in the right direction and told the right things. Now, there's a lot of resources available out there for addiction recovery, but many of them like to cater to people's sensibilities, and they don't tell them what they need to hear. You need to hear the fact that there is no substance that's going to magically save you from your own imminent danger. You've got to get off of the substance. Now, I'm here to tell you that this video is a warning system. This is an alarm, ladies and gentlemen. This is not some drill. This is this video. Life has aligned the cards for you. The stars have aligned for you and brought you here with me, and I'm present with you. I want you to stop and imagine that I'm speaking directly to you. That this video is made just for you. And that I'm here to tell you that if I can do it, you can do it. And if I can get through the uncertainty and the discomfort of not having my substance when I go through the withdrawals, then you can too. But I'm also here to tell you that depending on the severity of what your addiction and how much you're consuming of whatever substance it is, you need to seek medical attention, especially with alcohol, so that maybe you can get access to some good quality pharmaceutical drugs, especially if you're addicted to alcohol, so that you can be supervised, so that you don't go through what I went through, which was just the absolute delirium tremens withdrawals from hell. I don't want to see that happen to you, ladies and gentlemen. Alcohol is one of the most dangerous things to withdraw from. And there's plenty of, I may talk about how mainstream medicine has flaws, because it does. But when it comes to addiction recovery, they have their shit in line. There are thousands upon thousands of people who unfortunately died while they were withdrawing from whatever substance it was, whether it be alcohol, you name it. They could have been saved if they went into a hospital. There's all sorts of drugs that can lower your heart rate when you start going through the DTs. There's drugs that can help you sleep when you're going through the DTs or serious alcohol with hallucinosis. And let me tell you, it's beyond scary. It's fucking terrifying beyond measure. To see things that aren't there, to have things whispered in your ears from things that aren't there. If you guys have watched this video, or if you guys are watched this video, you've probably seen many of my other videos on addiction. I told you what happened to me when I was getting off of alcohol. I'm not going to repeat myself. I had an entire hierarchy of demonic spirits that took on the role of these demonic circus children that were following me throughout the room while I was sweating so much that I was making the sheets wet. My heart was pounding so hard that my girlfriend at the time could hear it across the room. I was being told by these entities that they were giggling, and there was circus music playing, and they were saying that I had so much potential in life, but I let it go for alcohol, and that they couldn't wait to see me dead and in hell. And when I tried to see these entities, because they were always outside of my ability to see them with direct vision, they were always in my peripheral vision. Every time I moved quick to try to see them, they would across the room. And there was about 6 of them in front of me, on my sides, and behind me, communicating back and forth to each other from across the room about how they couldn't wait for me to go to hell and be torn apart. That was just one of many things that I experienced while I went through the withdrawals. But once I got through that hell, and I prayed for hours on end, my entire withdrawal was a prolonged prayer. I begged and pleaded with God to let me live, and I swore at the altar of God that if He let me live, if He somehow saved my soul, because I was certain I was dying, that if somehow God would let me live, that I would devote a large portion of my life to trying to help others get sober too, because it is terrifying. And you will go through some hell to get to heaven, ladies and gentlemen. You will go through some hell to get to that goddamn fountain right there. But once you get to that fountain, ladies and gentlemen, and once you're able to finally get your fucking body in there and wash your soul, once you can baptize yourself in the healing water of sobriety and healthy living, you will have washed away all of the insanity that you went through and the mental illness that you go through while you're getting healthy and sober. And you'll finally be able to be washed anew in the healing waters of fucking sobriety and health. And you'll be able to firmly get off of the green. Walk back onto the path that you were on at one point without succumbing to it, and you'll be able to walk out of the building and finally take these next steps into the light, ladies and gentlemen, into the healing light. I speak in metaphors. Once you get out, look at your options. You have nothing but options, ladies and gentlemen. And outside of that prison that you were in, there's beautiful trees growing. There's multiple different paths that you can take to get out of where you were. Hell, you could go that way. You can walk up the hill. You can go down the road. You now have options. And you can also come over here once you're sober and realize that, wow, I could have wound up there. Let's just imagine that that tomb represents where you could have gone, 6 feet under, if you didn't get out of there. And once you realize what could have happened to you when you're actually sober and you have your common sense back, you'll now have your life back, ladies and gentlemen. You will now have your life back. So I'm here to walk with you because this message was made specifically for you. I want you to realize that. If you're listening to this message is for you. I want you to realize that this place that you're living in, this circle, it's like a fucking wheel that just keeps spinning. You're on a rat wheel. You're not even aware that you can leave. I want to see you leave. I want to help you leave. I want you to realize that above you is options. There are options. And below you is the solid earth for you to materialize those options once you've decided in your heart to turn them into a reality, and that you can walk into that fucking healing water and be baptized by your actions, by you walking out of the darkness and into the light. So right here, ladies and gentlemen, this message is a warning sign that if you're on this right now, the ring of death, the rat wheel of death, I want you to look up with me at that blue sky and the sun and the green and realize that you can quit. Then I want you to really think about what you're doing and ask yourself, what's more important? A temporary illusion to buy some comfort and have some fun with dangerous substances to deal with life or whatever it is? What's more important, that or getting your shit together and doing what's necessary? It's not going to be easy, but nothing good in life comes easy, ladies and gentlemen. Getting onto this green is going to test you, but in the process, you're going to develop your inner shield. You're going to develop your inner lamp of health. You're going to build yourself up, and you're going to experience levels of strength and health and peace of mind that you never knew while you were on this path. And I'm here to tell you that if you stop now, you can walk into the green. You can baptize yourself through your actions. What do I mean by that? Through your continuation of if you stay in the grass long enough, ladies and gentlemen, for the roots to take hold, that seed thing that we were talking about earlier, you will eventually get into the healing power of sobriety. And then finally, once you're there, you can go, okay, I'm going to put my holy garment on, take my healing shield, and walk the fuck out. And take those beautiful steps into peace. I love you, I love you, I love you. And until next time, peace be with you all. This shot glass, somehow, some way, has managed to live and not get broken in the last however many years. And this shot glass I used heavily when I was an alcoholic. I drank so much alcohol out of this little glass. And although it's not the glass, this little shot glass, it's not like it has any particular power over me. It can't influence my mind to make me drink. That's me. But this glass, I found it the other day when I got back to California. And it really made me reflect on all of the stupid shit that I did when I drank alcohol. I didn't just drink alcohol casually. When I was an alcoholic many years ago, I couldn't stop drinking once I started. I loved the way that alcohol burned going down my throat. I loved the sensation sensation of, excuse me, I can't speak today. I loved the sensation of chasing it down with ice cold carbonated water infused with lime. I loved just every little thing about alcoholism. And now that I've been away from it so long, I can see so clearly how in times of great turmoil, our minds can be tricked to work against us. Because when I was an alcoholic, I thought I fucking loved it. Human beings, for as resilient and amazing as we are, we can really learn to love things that destroy us rapidly. And for many of us, it can, make us wind up 6 feet under. So looking at this glass, I thought to myself, well, why do I even have it? Maybe I should just throw it away. But no, this almost serves not as a trophy, not as a trophy, but it serves as an icon of sorts, a reflective icon of all the damage that I did to myself and how just a simple little, vessel like this can be used to poison yourself. Now, obviously, you could put alcohol in any substance or in any vessel and kill yourself with it. You could even drink it right out of the bottle, but there was something about this shot glass that always stayed with me while I was an alcoholic. And now that I've been away from alcohol so long, this glass, it almost has a rewarding feeling to it. As crazy as that may sound. To hold it now when I'm sober and put a cayenne pepper shot or a shot of hawthorn berry tea into this, or to drink a shot of well-brewed Shazandra or a nice shot of espresso with a little magnesium infused into it. This glass I will forever now use as a tonic container, a potion holder. You could use a glass like this to destroy yourself, or you could use a glass like this to uplift yourself. The choice is yours and yours alone, and it all comes from your decisions. But our decisions here in the Matrix are often skewed because we were brought into a crazy world filled full of stress. And stress can really motivate us to do the wrong thing. Things, plural. So sobriety to a large extent is about reformulating your life, but in order to reformulate your life, you really need to do some soul searching and find out what's most important to you. Because I can pretty much guarantee you that alcoholism, smoking, drugs, and all this other crap, prescription drugs, I'm pretty sure that addiction to those things is not at the top of your priorities list. I'm pretty sure it's not what's most important to you. And I'm pretty sure that as you suffer with addiction, you actually want something much more and something much better for yourself. The gifts that come from sobriety. Everything will take on a different form when you finally bite the bullet and do what you need to do and get sober. Every breath that you take, when you've come close to death and you've conquered it and you've let go of addiction, every breath you take is filled full of power and purpose. Now, for me personally, I do my best not to take anything for granted. And now that I'm away from addiction, I really can, can experience that full-fledged. So this Christmas tree represents many things, but in this video, it represents the gifts that come from proper living. When you live properly, when you don't willingly kill yourself, whether it's intentional or not intentional with your addictions, because many people don't want to be doing this, guys. But when you get your shit together and you start watering that beautiful tree of sobriety and it starts turning green when it was prior just completely brown and dead, when those lights turn on, you start to realize what's most important in your life, and then and only then can you move forward, because until you have a strong moral code, until you have your own personal code of ethics, it's based on your own unique morals, it's very difficult to be sober because you don't have a plan. You don't know what's most important anymore. Most people have never gone and done a mental inventory of themselves. They don't even know what their beliefs are. Most people do not actually know what they even believe. They have never located their core beliefs, and that's one of the reasons why I talk so much about locating your core beliefs. When you don't know what your beliefs are, when you don't have a strong code of conduct, your own personal conduct code to live by, stress comes in and you end up, it's very difficult, ladies and gentlemen, to live a life of purpose without a code that brings you closer to that. I hope that makes sense. So if you really want to get sober, you've got to do some soul searching. You've got to get rid of the depression and all the crap that you're holding on to that is keeping you bound to an addictive pattern that temporarily makes you feel better, but in the long run kills you. And sometimes it's not even in the long run. Sometimes it's immediate. So this glass, I'm going to place in a very special place, and I'm going to drink maybe a cayenne pepper shot every day while I'm here in California in remembrance of the gifts that come from sobriety. How far I've come. This item I used to use this to kill me. I will now use it to bring me even closer to what the Stoics call eudaimonia, living with purpose, living with arete. Arete, ladies and gentlemen, is living with purpose. Eudaimonia is the attainment of the higher self, the merging with the inner daimon, not diamond like a rock, not diamond like a demon, daimon or daemon, D-A-I-M-O-N. Read the little book of Stoicism. I don't know if you guys can hear what's going on out here, but there's people yelling and it sounds like someone's being harmed. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. So this is an outer manifestation of what I used to do with myself. I used to take myself out of living with arete. But we know arete is what we do in life. It's called living with purpose so that we can attain eudaimonia. Some of these words may be big and I don't want to drag you on and bore you, but this can be used to live with arete, to do things with purpose, to increase health, or it can be used to lose your arete and fall away from your eudaimonia. Eudaimonia is an eventual state of supreme health. It's called merging with the higher self. We get closer to that by living with arete or living with purpose, action that aligns us with our higher self. This glass will now be used to do just that. I love you all. I hope you enjoyed the video and may peace be with you. I wanted to personally thank you for watching my videos and contributing to the growth of my channel. I could not do this without you, and your interest in my content is truly what motivates me and fuels my passion for making these videos and spreading my message. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wanted to remind you that this channel is a free educational tool that is listener supported, and if you would like to donate to my channel and donate to my cause, help make my life a little bit easier and help keep the lights on around here, you can do so by checking out the links in the description box below. There's a handful of not only ways to donate to my channel, but I also have links to different websites and different videos of mine, as well as my Amazon store, where you can check out a plethora of different health-related products that I use and recommend. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your continued interest in my message, and until next time, peace be with you all.